Hi everyone. This is a brief intro to JIRA Portfolio. So before we begin with the demo portion, let's go over what is JIRA Portfolio and how does it help and augment the project management capabilities of JIRA. So as we all know, JIRA is a very capable and powerful tool for project management. However, at scale, when we have multiple projects, and when we have multiple teams working on these projects, along with the inter-team dependencies, it becomes a major challenge. And also the stakeholders would like all of the projects to be aligned to the global strategy of the organization. And getting that kind of oversight is another challenge faced by many stakeholders. So we have different kinds of roles in this scenario. We have the personnel responsible for managing and overseeing the global strategy. We have the project managers overlooking individual projects, and we have the team members who are part of one or more projects. Now, why is there a need for JIRA portfolio management? We have on one side the project managers who have the needs that they need to report the health status of their projects to their executives and other stakeholders in the business. And then there is also the need for PPM tools for project managers. And the other major challenge is even though there might be a global business strategy, the individual projects go out of sync with this strategy. And the tools commonly used to deal with these are tools like Excel or MS Project, but they become very cumbersome and it is very difficult to collaborate on these kinds of tools. And then there is also the needs to be able to forecast releases across the organization. It's very difficult to know the release date for a particular project based on the resources allocated and the overall estimate. And already organizations are using Jira for project management. Now there is a need for a central place to get an oversight across all of these projects. The key differentiators between Jira Portfolio and other competing products is it has a built-in smart scheduler which lets you tweak around different parameters like the resources, the skills available for the resources, the overall estimates in form of stories and epics, which add up to a very dynamic scheduler. The other major feature it has is it acts as the single source of truth for both business and development plans. It brings together both of these aspects. And it is also framework agnostic. What that means is it does not assume that the team is used to working in a particular kind of agile way or in a fixed kind of schedule. It accommodates for all kinds of schedule, whether it's on a daily basis or in the form of 2 weekly sprints. So who exactly benefits from Jira Portfolio? On one side, we have the business owner, where they are able to see that the proper investment is made in the strategic areas as planned. So you get the oversight of which particular area the resources are being allocated and at what percentage these resources are being allocated as well. Jira Portfolio is also useful for anyone managing the overall engineering capabilities of an organization because this gives you this kind of timeline view where you can look at the start and projected end date of a particular release. You can also track interdependencies between stories in a release, so this helps to identify and mitigate any kinds of risk that might be expected along the way. Now, this Jira Portfolio is not only useful for upper management and project managers, but it is also useful for individual team members working towards a particular release or working as part of a particular team or project, because it helps them understand how their work not only impacts at the project or release level, but how it also impacts the overall big picture, how it aligns with the global strategy of the business. For instance, an individual team member might be working on a particular user story, but they can see how it contributes towards the overall completion of the epic, which is the parent container for for a group of stories. Now let's look at a practical demo of a particular scenario in JIRA Portfolio and how it may be useful. So when you open JIRA Portfolio, you get this kind of view where you can track and manage your epics, initiatives, and you can also at the bottom get different kinds of views. For instance, right now I have the timeline view, but you also have a couple of other options, like you can view the releases. You can also view the overall stories in the release and also even view them across different sprints. And there are options for different kinds of groupings as well. So let's go back to the compact release view. Right now we can see that we have this table. We have epics selected. So each of these items are epics. So we have 8 epics. And for each epic, we can select the release that they will be part of. And when we expand a particular epic, we can see that there are user stories within each epic. We also have the option to add any additional stories. And each story also has the estimate available. So for instance, we have a story related to the feature of being able to share dashboards, and we can see that the estimate is 200 hours. So let's see what happens when we change this estimate to 400 hours. And you can see that whenever we change the estimate, the overall projection of the release date changes accordingly. So if we change back to 200, we can see that the estimate release date went back to 27 November 2014. If we change it back to 400, the release date will now shift to 11 December 2014. So we can see how it's a very useful tool for looking at the projected release date, and the global stakeholder or the project manager can play around with all of these different kinds of variables to see how that would impact the overall release date. So in this way, it's a very useful forecasting tool. Now let's go to the scenario where we would like to so for instance, right now we can see that the projected release date for release 1.5 of project X is 28th May 2015. However, ideally we would like that to move at least a few weeks to sometime in April. And when we look at this project, we can see that release 1.5 is being worked on by a team called the professionals. So every kind of epic has not only the release and the overall estimate associated with it, but there is also a particular team that is supposed to work on it. And managing the teams, their capabilities, and overall picture of that is available under the people section. So if we select the people section, we can look at the different teams available. So we can see that we have 3 teams currently: the Avengers, the Beatles, and the professionals. We know that the professionals are responsible for delivering the 1.5 release of project. And when we expand the professionals, we can see the team members. There are 3 team members currently. And not only can we see the team members, but we can also see the type of skills they have. And it's possible to configure different kinds of skills. There are some built-in ones out of the box. For instance, we have the design and implementation skills. and we can see that we have team members with implementation skills, and we have a third team member who has both design and implementation. Now, in order to get back to our problem statement from earlier, we would like the release date to move to sometime in April rather than in May 2015. And we can do so by perhaps adding another team member, because they would be able to contribute more hours towards the completion of this project. So if we want to add a new team member, we get the option to add a team member when we hover over this section right here. So we are going to add a team member called Addteq robot. Now when we add a team member, we see that the release date hasn't shifted yet because we have not marked the skills uh, offered by this particular team member, and Addteq robot is going to provide implementation skills. So we will select that. And as we select that, you can see that the projected release date has moved to April, like we desire. And in this way, we can see that by playing around with different kinds of variables available within JIRA Portfolio, we can do effective portfolio management by bringing together all of our projects and aligning them with the global strategy and plan of the business.